welcome back to Beyond the Studio Pilates. My name is Hannah and today I'm going to take you through an introduction to flow class. So this is a slightly more challenging Pilates workout than a usual Pilates class, so it's not right for beginners. But if you've been doing Pilates for a couple of years and you want to try something that's a little bit more higher pace and with more challenging moves, this is the right class for you. Starting standing, bringing your feet together, heels come out, toes come out to meet them, and then we're going to take ourselves in a little semicircle. A semicircle, we're going to take ourselves in a full circle. Going to just take your weight around your foot, so I want you to feel the weight moving from your heel to your toe and then to the sides of your feet. Might have been a bit ambitious window-wise, just take that a bit of a close. So you're just circling your weight around your foot. And then you're going to take it in the other direction. Just taking that weight on a nice journey. So just learning how to move that weight around your foot. And then we're going to just bring that back to a standstill, keeping that weight even between your heel and your toe. So think about it as a tripod of support between your big toe, little toe and heel. Keep that weight even. Keeping those knees soft, remember don't push those kneecaps backwards, and then coming up to your pelvis. Thinking about it like a bucket, we're just going to tip the water out of the back and out of the front. So just a gentle rock backwards and forwards, seeing how it wants to move today. And then bring that to a standstill where that tailbone is pointing down towards the ground. Restack those vertebrae, growing towards the ceiling. Next, thinking about that pelvic floor. So we're getting in that lift on floor 1, riding it up to floor 10. So feeling that internal squeeze from the back to the front. So everything is moving up. And then gently, with control, letting it off. And again, up to that 10th floor, holding it there. And then slowly, with control, letting it off. And final time, up to that 10th floor, feeling that internal squeeze from the back to the front. And then this time, with control, slowly letting it down until we get to that notch 2 or 3, and that's our 20 to 30%. I'm going to hold for the rest of the session. Next, thinking about that TVA, so transverse abdominis, big belt-like muscle. So we're going to imagine we've got on a really wide belt. I'm going to draw that belt up to the 10th hole. Then slowly, with control, we're going to just let that off. And then again, we're going to take it up to the 10th hole. So waist gets smaller, belly button moves towards your spine, and your ribs draw down so that the bottom of your rib cage is in line with the top of your hip. Then gently letting it back off. And then again, up to that 10th notch, waist gets smaller, belly button to spine, ribs to hips. And then this time, with control, we're going to slowly let it back off until we get to that notch 2 or 3, and that's our 20 to 30%. We're going to hold for the rest of the session. Thinking about breathing next. So wide thoracic breathing into the side and the back of your rib cage, interlacing your fingers over your ribs. We're taking an inhale. Feel those fingers part, and then as you exhale, I want you to think about scooping that pelvic floor up as your diaphragm moves back up. Pelvic floor also moves back up. So we're inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. 2 more breaths like this. Inhale and exhale. And final inhale and exhale. Super. From here, moving on to your shoulders, we're going to take 3 shoulder rolls backwards and 3 shoulder rolls forwards. Then we're going to do 3 elbow rolls backwards, so just making a bigger circle. And then 3 elbow rolls forwards. Then from here, you're going to interlace your fingers, bring your arms above your head. Check in with that rib to hip connection. Make sure you haven't let go of that. And you're just creating a circle above your head. So everything else is staying nice and still, just mobilizing through those shoulders. And taking that in the other direction. And then we're going to start to make that circle a bit bigger. So you're going to let your back and core get involved. So you're creating a bigger circle, but just with your upper body. So everything below your waist is staying still. Thinking core, pelvic floor. Just a gentle circle. And then taking that in the other direction. And then coming back to the top, stretching those arms up and away. Okay, keeping your feet underneath you. You're going to bring both arms out to the front, and then you're going to bring both arms so they're just in front of your shoulders. Then from here, you're just going to take them back so they're just behind your shoulders, and then you're going to come back so they're just in front of your shoulders. So it's just a little movement, and we're starting with both arms. I just want you to really think about your shoulder blades just melting down your back. Just keeping it nice and controlled. We're going to do 2 more here, and then we're just doing one arm at a time. Okay, so now you're going to bring your left arm back to the front, and we're just going to move that right arm. So it's just going forward and back. Really let that shoulder blade sink down your back. Just feel if there's any tension in that shoulder. And 3, 2, and 1. And then bring that arm back to the front. Other side, so left arm. Just a little movement back and forth. Really let that shoulder blade drop down your back. And 3, 2, and final 1. And then bring the arm back to the front, bring your arms down by your sides, give your shoulders a little shake if they need it. Core engaged, you're going to bring your arms back in front of you. Imagine you're rotating, you're going to rotate through your mid-spine. Don't need to imagine, that's actually what you're going to do. So we're just going to bring one arm back and then come back to the front. I want you to keep your chin in line with your chest. So we're just rotating through that mid-spine. Keeping it nice.
I didn't catch that.
Ooh, Siri's getting involved now as well. Keeping it nice and slow and steady. Making sure your hips stay facing forward, so you're just moving through that thoracic spine. And we're going to do 1 more to each side like this. And then bring those arms down by your sides. And we're going to move on to a few resistance band exercises. So if you have a band, that's going to come in handy. If you don't have one, don't worry. I'm going to talk you through it without the band anyway, so you can follow along. And you could use 2 cans if you didn't have a resistance band, or you can use some little hand weights if you like. So you're bringing the band up, so you've got some bands to play with in the middle. If you don't have a band, you're going to imagine you have a sponge in each hand. We're going to squeeze onto those sponges, and then you're just going to take the bottom half of your arm out to the side, hold it for a moment, and then just gently resist, or let the resistance band pull you back to the middle. But I want you to really not let it snap you back to the middle, so you're resisting that band as it wants to pull you back to the middle. So squeeze and out to the middle and let go. Squeeze out to the middle and then release. Going to do 5 more like this. So this is a rotator cuff exercise, so we're just building some strength in that upper back. Keep that core switched on, just bring your attention back to your feet. Is your weight even between your heels and toes? Just check with that one. And final 2. And final 1. Okay, so next we're going to go a bit deeper and we're going to go into our rhomboid. So you're bringing a bit more band into the middle. Core engaged, standing tall, you're going to squeeze onto the band. Going to do the same thing, so take your wrists out and then push your elbows away from your body. Then you're going to gently bring those elbows back in and then release your wrists off to the front. So we're squeezing and out. Push those elbows out, then come gently back in. Keep that core engaged, keep the movement nice and controlled. Really pushing those elbows out, and then just gently releasing back to the front. And final 4. Holding it there for a minute before you release back to the middle. Final 3. And final 2. And final 1. And then giving the shoulders a little roll in each direction. Now you're going to bring the band so it's into a loop. And you're going to just put one foot on the band. You can put both feet on the band if you want to. And then you're just going to pull the band in. Now if you don't have a band and you're using cans, you'll just hold your cans. If you don't have cans and you're just using your body weight, I want you to really imagine you're holding on to something that's quite heavy and you're going to slowly bring it up, and then even slower you're going to release it off. So we're really slowly moving back down. So you're coming up at kind of a normal speed and then slowly resisting that band or that heavy object as you bring that arm back down. So just a gentle up and then a really controlled down. Keep standing tall, belly button to spine, pelvic floor switched on. Make sure you're not leaning forward. If you are using a band, remember if you need it to be more challenging, just take some band in. If you need it to be easier, you just let some band go. Really slowly taking that arm down to your side. Imagine you're holding on to something really heavy. You don't want it to let that arm kind of snap into position, so you're having to really gradually let that elbow straighten out. And we're going to do 2 more on each side. Nice slow controlled movement down. Check in with your shoulders, make sure they're not up near your ears, keep them down and in place. 1 more time on each side. Nice controlled movement down. Okay, from here, keeping hold of your band if you have one, you're going to just place your feet into the band. Again, if you don't have a band, imagining there's something heavy in both hands. Pelvis goes backwards, chest comes forward, core on your down into your kind of high squat position. Check in with your tailbone, so make sure you haven't pointed it towards the ceiling. Bring that tailbone back underneath you. Then from here, band needs to be a bit waggly. And you're going to come up so your elbow is next to your body, and then straighten that arm out. Then bend at the elbow, then release off to the floor. So we're coming up and back to the middle and down. Up and back to the middle and down. Keeping the movement nice and controlled. Keep thinking belly button to spine, pelvic floor on. If you're just pretending you've got an object in your hands, I want you to really imagine it's really heavy. So you're having to really gently move your arms so that you don't lose control and the object ends up kind of like pulling your arms back down. So you're moving slowly. 2 more here. And final 1. And then just gently stepping off that band. We're going to do 1 more band exercise. Again, you don't need a band, you can do this without a band. So you're going to bring your arms above your head. You need to have a bit of band in the middle to play with, so don't make it too taut. Have it so that it's kind of making kind of a bit of a U shape itself. Core engaged, pelvic floor on. Check you haven't let your ribs jut forward. And then from here, you're going to pull that band down behind your head and then release back off. And you might need to play with how much band you've got if you're using a band. Again, if you're using a can, please make sure you don't drop it on your head. And you'll just use the can's weight. If you're not using anything, just imagine you've got something in your hands that's quite heavy and you're just slowly moving those arms up and down. Take some band in if you need to make it more challenging. Let some band out if you need to make it easier. We're going to do 3 more here. And 2. And final 1. And then letting go of the band, bringing the band down so it's somewhere out of the way, but don't get rid of it because we may need it again. And then we're going to look at balance. So if you want to use a grey block, you're very welcome. If your balance can be a little bit iffy, just make sure you've got access to something solid to place your hand on if you need it. Core engaged, you're going to bring your right leg so it's hovering next to the left leg, which is on your block or on the floor. And then we're just going to come up and out to the middle and down. Up and out to the middle and down. Keep standing tall. Core engaged, pelvic floor switched on. I want you to imagine your arms and legs are attached to each other, so they're moving together, so the movement stays really nice and fluid. And we've got 4 more to go here. Keep standing tall. 3. 2. And final 1. Okay, stepping off that block. Give those ankles a little walk out. Having a little of your footprint if you're standing on the block. So remember, you're trying to make a nice even heel and toe. Considering I had a bit of a wobble, mine's not too bad. Turning the block over, placing your right foot on the block. Core engaged, and we're coming up and out to the middle and down. Up and out to the middle and down, keeping the movement nice and fluid. Keep that core switched on, standing tall. We have 4 more to go. Just check in with that weight in your foot. Is it even between your heel and your toe? Final 2. Doing really well. And final 1. And then gently stepping back off that block, give those ankles another little walk out. Having a little look at your footprint. Nice even heel and toe. Placing your block somewhere where it's not going to be in the way. And we're going to do a single leg clock step now. So you're going to imagine you're standing in the middle of a clock. Going to bring yourself down into a high to medium squat. Don't take yourself too low. Weight into your left leg. Lift your right foot off the floor. Then we're going to tap to 12. Back to the middle. Tap to 2. Back to the middle. Tap to 5. Back to the middle. Tap to 7. Back to the middle. Tap to 10. Back to the middle. And to 12. Back to the middle. 3 more times. Here we go. Doing really well. Keep the movement nice and fluid. Try not to lean on your right leg as you take it to each point on the clock. Try and keep the weight in your left leg. 2 to go. We're halfway there. Keep thinking belly button to spine. Core engaged. Keeping a little bend in that supporting leg. So we're building strength in that supporting leg. This is our final time. And back to 12. And then back to standing. Give those legs a little wiggle. And we're going to go the other way. So core on. Down into that high to medium squat. Weight into the right. Left foot taps to 12. And to 10. And to 7. And to 5. And to 2. And back to 12. 3 to go. Here we go. 10. Stretch to 7. So really stretch that leg out as you tap. Final 2. And final 1. Add in a cheeky one. And to 5. And to 2. And to 12. And back to standing. Give those legs a little wiggle. And then we're just going to do a standing quad stretch. I suggest you use something to hold on to, something solid, just so you don't have to worry about balance, but you don't have to. So holding on to your solid object, picking up your left foot, bring your knees in line, and then you're just taking that knee back slightly so you can feel that stretch in your quad, holding it there. And bringing that leg down, swapping to the other side, so right foot up, knee back, holding that quad stretch. And then bringing that leg back down, giving those ankles a little walk out. And then from here, we're going on to our roll down. So we're just going to use our roll down as a way to get to the mat today. So you're standing tall, Taking an inhale. And then exhale, tucking your chin, leading with the crown of your head. You're going to slowly roll down one vertebrae at a time. When you get to the bottom, you're going to bend your knees, walk your hands forward and come down to the mat. Okay, so first exercise on the mat, we're going to do swimming in all fours. So this is a really good all over body workout. We're going to start with individual arms and legs and then move on to opposites. So you're coming into your box position. Wrist is under your shoulder, knee is under your hip. So making a good box is really important to kind of set you up nicely for the exercise. This is giving you a really stable base to work from. We're taking an inhale in the middle. Then you're going to exhale. Stretch your right arm forward, hold for an inhale. And then exhale, bring that arm back in. Hold in the middle for an inhale. Exhale. Hold for your inhale. And then exhale, bring that arm back down. Now we're going for legs. So we're going to slowly on your exhale, take that leg out along the floor and then just gently lift it up. Make sure your hips stay stacked next to each other. Hold for an inhale. And then exhale. Gently back down to the floor. Knee comes back in. Should be no real movement, so you should just place that knee back down as if it's never been gone. Holding in the middle for an inhale. Exhale. Other leg goes out, stretching that leg up and away. Hold for an inhale. Exhale. Remember, bring that pelvic floor up a little bit as you exhale. Knee comes back down into place. Okay, we're going to go around 2 more times each arm and each leg, and then we'll move on to something a little bit more challenging. So we're inhaling in the middle. Exhale. One more time round. Taking belly button to spine, core engaged. Remember, keep your eye line down between your hands. And final time on each leg. Okay, just coming off your wrists for a moment, bring your fingers together and just give yourself a little jellyfish stretch. So just pushing those fingers out, just let those wrists release off slightly. Okay, so we're going to do an opposite arm and leg now, but we're going to add in a little extra because we're going to bring that arm and leg into the middle. Now, if this is a little bit too much for you today, just stick with the opposite arm and leg swimming as you would usually and leave out the curl into the middle. So we're holding in the middle for our inhale. Then we're going to take an opposite arm and leg out on our exhale. We're going to hold it here for an inhale. And then on our exhale, instead of coming back to the floor, we're going to roll ourselves up into a tiny ball into the middle of that arm and leg. Hold for an inhale. And then exhale. We're going to push back out, stretching out through that arm and leg. Hold for an inhale, and then exhale. So as you come up, make sure you bring your head back up and you don't leave your head looking down at your feet. Take an inhale here, exhale, curling into the middle. Hold for an inhale, exhale, stretching out. Hold for an inhale and exhale, back to the center, holding here. Going to do one more on this side. You're doing really well. So this time inhaling and then exhaling. Bring that arm and leg back down into the middle. Check on your position, so make sure your hands haven't moved. My hand was slowly slipping away from my body. So holding in the middle again for an inhale. This time we're going to the other side. Exhale, stretch that arm and leg up. Hold for an inhale and exhale. Curl yourself into the middle. Hold it here for an inhale and then exhale. Remember, bring your head back up as well. Stretch out through that arm and leg. Keep your core switched on. It's really helping to stabilize your body right now. As you push that arm and leg back out, really think about the length that you can create. We've got 2 to go. Final time, you're doing really well. So this time hold it and then exhale back to the floor. Bring that arm and leg back in. Taking your knees out wide, sit back into your wide knee child's pose. Think shoulder blades stretching down your back, hands stretching away from your body. We're going to hold it here for 2 breaths. And then we're going to walk our hands around to the left hand side and take that stretch to the right hand side of your back. And then you're going to walk your hands back to the middle and walk them around to the right hand side. Take that stretch to the left hand side of your back. And then come back to the middle, and from here we're going to go on to our sides and we're going to do our noughts and crosses. So this is quite tricky. We're going to do up to 8 of each, but if 8 is too many for you, just reduce the number down. Do what you feel comfortable with, or do one more than comfortable, and then just know that you can add on more next time we do this exercise. So feet are in front of you. Think about your posture when you were standing. You want to recreate that lying down. Core engaged, little gap under that low side. Top hand in front for some support. You could also bend that bottom leg if you wanted to. Going to
I didn't get that. Can you try again?
Siri is very chatty today. So lifting that top leg to hip height, core on, and we're going to start with up to 8 noughts backwards. 7 and 8. Okay, and taking it in the other direction. So keeping those hips really still. So remember, your hips stay stacked one on top of the other. Core engaged, pelvic floor on. 3, 2, and 1. Holding it there. Core on. So we're coming into our crosses now. So we're going to come down to the front, to the middle, up to the back, to the middle, up to the front, to the middle, down to the back. Check in with that rib to hip connection. Make sure you don't let your back go into extension. So we have 8 to go. Here we go. Keep thinking belly button to spine. Pelvic floor on, core engaged, keeping everything nice and still apart from your leg, which is drawing a cross. Up to 8 crosses, but you can reduce the number if you need to. I prefer that you do 5 really well, then try and do 8 and every other muscle is hanging on to help you, or you're just doing them so fast that you aren't really getting very much out of the exercise. Need to almost pause at each position so you really get an opportunity to work deep into those glutes, and we are halfway there. See, it goes really quickly if you just chat all the way through it. Okay, 4 to go. Here we go. Oh, help is coming. Hi. Yeah. Hi. This isn't helpful. So we're going to do the other side now. Stay. Good girl. She's learned how to open the door, so I can't get rid of her and keep her out. So we're coming on to our other side and we're doing exactly the same thing. So first of all, thinking about your setup. So remember, feet in front of you, core engaged, top hand down for some support. Lifting that top leg to hip height, and then here we go for up to 8 circles. 2 and 1 and reverse for 8. Keep that core engaged, hips stacked on top of each other. Final 2 circles, you're doing really well. And 1. And then holding at hip height, core engaged, onto our crosses. So we're going down to the front, hip height, up to the back. Check that you don't go into extension. Hold on to that rib to hip connection. Up to the front, back to hip height, down to the back, back to hip height. So 8 to go, or up to 8. You don't have to do 8. If 8 is too many, just reduce the number down. That's totally fine. And we're nearly halfway there. Keep that core switched on. So this is a really good core exercise as well as a good glute exercise, because you're laying on the thinnest part of your body, so your core is having to really work to stabilize you here. And we have 3 to go. And final 2. And final 1. And then bringing that leg back to the middle, gently bringing that leg back down, and we're going to do a really nice glute stretch just to iron that out. So you're bringing yourself into a box position, going to take a step back with your left foot, and then your left foot is coming over to the right hand side of your body. You're just going to navigate your way backwards. So you're sitting down on that right side, you can feel that stretch in your right hand side, holding it there for me. We're going to just develop this stretch in a little while, but we're going to hold it first. And just see if you can develop it slightly, just increase that stretch a little bit. Then tucking those back toes, bringing yourself back up into your box, right leg out behind you, slide it to the left and just navigate your way backwards again, holding it here, feeling that stretch in your left hand side. And just see if you can melt into that stretch a little bit deeper. Then tucking those back toes, bringing yourself back up. And we're going to go onto our backs next. So I'm going to come gently down onto the mat. And the first thing we need to think about is our setup. So feet, knees and hips need to be in a line. Pelvis in neutral, little gap under that low back. Head facing the ceiling. So make sure you're not either tilting your head backwards or tucking your chin under. Think about your head staying in a nice neutral position where you've got that nice little curve in your cervical vertebrae. Arms just gently resting on the floor, and then we're going to bring them into the air. Palms are facing. From here we're going to bring both legs up into tabletop, knees over hips, shins parallel with the ceiling. Going to imagine you have an elastic band from your right hand to your left knee and your left hand to your right knee. We're holding in the middle for an inhale. And then exhale. We're just going to take a pair out to the side. So they can go out so they're roughly the same angle. Make sure your opposite knee doesn't move away to compensate, or your hip doesn't roll off the floor. Hips must stay on the floor. Opposite knee and arms stay in position. Holding for an inhale, and then exhale. Bring them back to the center. Hold here for an inhale, and then exhale. Other side. Hold for an inhale, and exhale. Holding in the middle for an inhale, exhale. So don't let your back arch or your belly dome, and you're just taking that arm and leg out as far as you can hold it, and then gently bringing it back in. I want you to imagine you have an elastic band from your knee to your hand, and you're slowly bringing it back to the middle. You're not letting it snap you back to the middle. So it's a nice slow controlled movement. And we're going to do 3 more to each side, holding for an inhale and then exhale, coming back to the center. So this is really working into your deep core muscles, building a nice strong and stable foundation. Really use the breathing to control the movement. Final time to each side. And then bring one leg down and 2 legs down, and bring your arms down by your sides. Arms staying on the floor this time, but your legs are coming back up. Going to bring your knees and feet together, and then you're going to bring your knees out to the side and keep your feet together. Arms are on the floor, but make sure you're not death gripping the floor. So if you need to, just turn your palms up so that you're not pushing down into the floor. Feet together, and then we're going to do a little push, and we're going to hold it for 30 seconds. So you're going to just push your feet into each other for 30, starting now. I'll tell you when to stop. And then let it go. Just release those legs off, give them a little bit of a wiggle if they need it. Feet back together, we're going to do that 2 more times. So pushing the soles of your feet together for 30 seconds, starting now. Make sure you're not holding your breath. And then release. Again, give those legs a little waggle. And then bring those feet back together, final time, core on. Pushing those feet together, starting now. And then releasing off. Give those legs a little waggle. Bring them back to the floor, and we're going to go into our roll up. So you can either take your legs out so they are long along the floor, or you can keep your knees bent if that is better. If you have your resistance band, you can always bring your band around your feet so that you can use the band. And then we're going to bring our arms over our heads, taking an inhale. Then we're going to exhale. Bring your arms to the ceiling. Inhale here. And then exhale, tucking your chin, and you're going to slowly roll up to sitting. Sitting up nice and tall, taking an inhale. And then you're going to exhale. Tuck your chin, tilt your pelvis. You can use the band to support you if you need it. And you're going to slowly roll yourself back down to the mat. Bring your arms over your head, holding for an inhale. And then exhale. Arms to the ceiling, hold for an inhale. Core on, exhale, chin tucked, and roll yourself back up to sitting. Make sure you're coming up to sitting nice and tall on those sit bones. Hold for an inhale. Exhale, tilt your chin, tuck your pelvis, or the other way round, and slowly roll back down to the mat. Arms over your head, hold for an inhale. And then exhale. Hands to the ceiling, hold for an inhale. Exhale. Tucking your chin, rolling yourself back up to sitting. Sitting up nice and tall, hold for an inhale. Exhale. Nice slow controlled movement back to the mat. Remember, you're articulating through each vertebrae. Going to do 2 more like this. Inhaling here. Exhale. Arms to the ceiling, inhale, then exhale. Nice controlled roll up to sitting. Inhale here, exhale, gently back down to the mat. Arms over your head, take an inhale and exhale. Hands to the sky, final time. Inhale, exhale, tilting your chin, rolling back up and back to sitting nice and tall. We're staying at the mat this time. Inhale, exhale, tilting the pelvis, slowly rolling back down to the mat. And this time you can give yourself a full body stretch. And then we're going to move into our hamstring stretch. So if you have the band already near your feet, you can just put one heel in it and then bring it up. Remember, the band needs to be around your heel, not your toe. If you don't have a band, don't worry, I'm going to talk you through it without it. Other foot comes back to being flat on the floor, and then you're just going to bring that hamstring stretch in so you can feel it in the body of the muscle. If you don't have a band, you're just holding onto the back of your shin or the back of your thigh, so you're just holding on, not onto the back of your knee. Holding it there for me. Then see if you can point your toe at your face, bring that leg a little bit closer. Remember, if you get a fizzy fit, you've gone too far, let it off. Then placing the band into your left hand, guiding that leg over to the left hand side. If you need to, you can just hold on to your leg if you don't have the band. And you should feel that stretch now in the outside of your leg, holding it there. And see if you can bring it a little bit closer. Then bring that leg back to the middle. Placing the band in your right hand, let that leg fall out to the right hand side. Keep your left hip on the floor. If you don't have a band, you're just holding that leg underneath, just supporting it from below, holding it there. And just see if you can hold it there a little bit longer. Then bring that leg back to the middle. Opening up that band, place your left heel in the band, right foot comes back to flat on the floor, and then you're just pulling that band in or holding on to the back of your leg anywhere apart from your knee. Holding it there, breathing into your stretches. So you can bring it a little bit closer, point your toes at your face. Then placing that band into your right hand, guide it over to the right hand side or holding on to your leg if you are not using the band, feeling that stretch now in the outside of that leg. And see if you can bring it a little bit closer. And bring that leg back to the middle. Placing the band into your left hand, let that leg fall out to the left, or again holding underneath if you don't have a band. Remember, right hip must stay on the floor. Holding there a little bit longer. And bring that leg back to the middle. Bringing that band off your foot, giving yourself a full body stretch, and then returning to sitting for me, please. And you're going to come to sitting, either sitting cross-legged or you can sit in diamond. I'm actually going to go this way around to show you this. So we're going to do a nice stretch for your upper back now. So you're going to bring both arms up so your elbow is in line with your shoulder. Then you're going to bring your right arm over the top of your left arm and then curl your hands around each other. Push palm to palm, hold it there. And then bring those arms back. And then this time we're going left over right. Wrap them around each other and push palm to palm, hold it there. And then bring them back round. Either staying sitting in cross-legged or you can sit in diamond if that is more comfy. Going to bring your left hand to the floor, right arm is going to stretch out away from your body and come up and over your head. Make sure your sit bones stay on the floor, elbow comes up and over your ear. Taking an inhale and then exhale, stretch that arm back to the ceiling and bring it down to your side, other side. So your left hand goes away, stretching up and over the top. Keep your sit bones on the floor, holding it here for an inhale. And then exhale, stretch that arm up and over and back to your side. And then we're going to leave it there for today. Thank you for joining me for today's intro to flow. I hope you really enjoyed it and feel like you've worked really hard. Have a super day, drink plenty of water, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.